Hello, this is Dr. Martina, your online sex therapist and sex educator. I want to talk about books today. I'm a lover of books. I have a huge library of mostly sex books, and I pulled 3 of my favorite books out, and I want to give you a little book review, hopefully to inspire you to get either one or all 3 of them and learn something about our human sexuality as I did. The first book is An Intimate Geography, Woman, An Intimate Geography by Natalie Anger. Natalie Anger is a biologist that writes about biology for the New York Times. She has won a Pulitzer Prize. She has a very colorful and very deep passion for science and the female body, and you will feel that throughout the whole book. She uses studies of non-human primates like the chimpanzee and its close cousin, the bonobo. And the fact that the genes of these monkeys are more than 99% identical to ours makes you want to listen and definitely think about it. She makes a strong case for the liberation biology, which is a term to describe the use of biological insights to heal our psychic wounds, understand our fears, and make the most of what we have. Love that perspective. She has a very high intellect and has extensive knowledge of biology and science, which makes it a little hard to digest this 400-page book, but she has a great sense of humor, and she has an undying effort to not make this book about the war of the sexes, but make it a book about women. And that will keep your interest going, and it will get you through the book. What else does she do? I look at this book when I want accurate information. I pull it out and make sure to see what she said about it. My most surprising information about this book is a new look about female breast, which is that blew me away. It's something I never considered, so that's a really great reason to get this book. So I love the book. 400 pages, like I said, it's hard to get through it in one swoop, so you can put it down, pick it up again, but I think it will make you fall in love with the female body, and that is a good thing. The Erotic Mind by Jack Moran. This is one of my absolute favorite books in my library. He uses a paradoxical perspective to acknowledge the dual-edged nature of erotic life. Using this completely different point of view, Moran hopes to maintain the celebrated sexual disposition of the 60s and the 70s without denying the new fear-infused attitude about sex in response to AIDS. This was published in 1995. His definition of eroticism, I think, is one of the best. He says that eroticism is the interplay of sexual arousal with the challenges of living and loving. Erotic Mind is a breakthrough exploration of the least understood dimension of human sexuality, the psychology of desire, arousal, and fulfillment. Moran conforms to the fact when it comes to sexual interaction, barriers seem to turn people on at least as often as they turn them off, and he translates this resistance principle into a formula, which he calls the erotic equation. Attraction and obstacles equals excitement. With the same standpoint, Moran examines the love-lust connection, and he encourages the reader to look at their own real or fantasy partners from the perspective of the erotic equation. It's a fascinating way to do that. He embarks with a dedication to yet another paradox in this book, which is that couples who achieve progressively improving compatibility experience a decline of erotic zest. We all heard about that. He points out learnable skills to overcome his conspiracy, like the art of erotic communication, which he deems necessary with the ever-changing times and circumstances of a long-term relationship. So one of the strengths of this book is that Moran's insistence to involve the reader personally. He continuously invites the reader to be a participant and not just an observer. The implementations of self-assessment make it really easy to stay on track and be reminded that this is actually a self-help book. Highly recommended. I can't talk about classic sex books without mentioning The Ethical Slut, written by Darcy Easton and Catherine Lists and published in 1997. Their definition of a slut is a person of any gender who has the courage to lead life according to the radical proposition that sex, as long as it is consensual, is nice and pleasure is good for you. The key is to build your own sense of internal security. So leaning on the basis that most of us want to sleep with more than one person, this book is all about non-monogamy. Now this may make some of you to put this book down, not want to read it because you don't believe in non-monogamy. That's really not, yes, it is all about non-monogamy, but it also describes sexual behavior that we all need to hear about and be educated about, so we stop labeling. We stop using dark labels, which they have a whole chapter about, and they challenge the reader to look at their own dark labels and change them and change the verbiage about it, have a different opinion about it. They challenge us to consider recognizing other sexual cultures like lesbians, gay men, sex workers, bisexuals, and swingers, and for us, to have the responsibility as a reader to give all of these people freedom to explore within their own personal limitation, which then of course also allows the reader to do so. They offer different thought processes and skills so the reader can achieve confidence in a world of shifting relationships. They offer with the theory that sex is nice and pleasure is good for you. They question the culture's desire to force us into monogamy, despite the evident notion that many of us desire sex with more than one person in their lifetime. So they describe endless possibilities of relationship. The reader gets introduced to all kinds of sexual behaviors and what's possible, the love effect and the lust effect, and it's just refreshing. It's like a modern Kinsey about sexual behavior. The book offers some ideas about where to start your own exploration, or perhaps the validation of knowing that there are others like you out there. It is very personable. It's very easy to read. It's a non-threatening, informative, and tolerant guide to a lifestyle which includes multiple sexual partners. I personally treasure the description of sexual freedom in this book and its rebellious nature. So, that is The Ethical Slut, a must-have and a must-read. So that's it. Those are the 3 books that I wanted to introduce you to. I hope they inspire you. If you have questions about certain books that you may want to read and you want to talk to me about it, get in touch with me. And in the meantime, take some time and go read one of these books. Have a great week.